Bonjour and welcome back to Famous Interviews, where the eternal peace of popular personalities is temporarily interrupted for your exclusive entertainment. And I do mean exclusive, as we've been forced to film with no studio audience, due to the unconvivial COVID conundrum. I am your chat show hostess du jour, Lady Mary Pozah. Yes, I'm a lady. It's a title from whence I hail. I didn't marry for my title, it was inherited. My father, bless his sotted soul, was Baron of Jaywick Sands, an area of the UK not very well known here in the States, and thank God for that. Today I hope to interview a woman who has a title or two of her own. Queen of Comedy, Sovereign of Satire, Duchess of Drollery, and often self-deprecating diva of delightful derision. She's no longer a living legend, but her semi-legend will never die, at least not on the YouTube. Earlier in her career, she co-starred in a play off-Broadway with none other than Barbara Streisand. Yes, I know. She then went on to perform in various clubs and cabarets in New York's Greenwich Village, hobnobbling with the likes of George Carlin, Woody Allen. What's that mean? No, dear, no funny business with the Woody. She was in her 20s then. Far too old for him. I need to sit down, and more importantly, a drink. Off my feet. These shoes are killing me. And here I am, darlings. A little sip to wet the tip. That's what me ex-Frederick used to say. The blackguard. Much better. Now me lingua's lubricated for the tete-a-tete with me very verbal visitante-to-be. She was never sans something to say, in fact made quite a good living with her tongue lashings. What now, Egbert? No, heavens, dear, you've been fumbling far too much with your Google. Of course it isn't Stormy. She never starred off-Broadway. She was the Broadway. Here's to Stormy. Now, where was I? Oh yes, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, and all fluids in between, without further digression, drift or detour, let us attempt to summon the spirit of that dearly departed jolly jokester, that witty wag and cutting comedienne, Joan Rivers. Yes, I'm as excited as I imagine you are. Perhaps we can talk, and I hope we shall. We'll find out momentarily. Just one more sip to saturate me senses. Perhaps you at home would like to join me. As me ex used to say, raise it up, then suck it down. Cheers. What fun. So now to begin the summoning. A candle for you, a bright shiny hue, like your jewels on the queue. QVC, of course. My dearest Joan, I bring you gifts from life to death. Perhaps a shiny bauble, a glitzy lure that should ensure you'll come without a squabble. Commune with us, dearest Joan, commune with us. Move amongst us, move amongst us. For heaven's sakes, don't faff around and cheese me off.
The best ghost in her price range.
Joan Rivers, bonjour and welcome. Oh, I am utterly gobsmacked. How jammy, Joan, darling, you're here. I've been so looking forward to seeing you again.
Look at all the jewelry.
Some of mine I thought might attract you.
I could have guessed they were yours. Paste. Nice to meet you.
We've met before, dear. Don't you remember when I opened for you in that darling little club on 42nd Street a few years back?
What, you held the door, now you open for me? I don't mean to insult your ladyship, but I don't recall that. Maybe it's true, and how depressing is that? 40 years in the business and I followed you.
You were trying out new material. Had all your oak tag cue cards lined up on the floor, remember? Now, Miss Rivers, I must admit, I've always been a big fan. I absolutely wore out the grooves of your album, What Becomes...
A semi-legend most. My third solo album.
Yes, so many moments of merriment, loads of laughter, funny jokes. Some not very kind, as it were. And you looked so beautiful sporting that mink on the cover.
Which today I couldn't get away with.
No, you got away with plenty, including your first album, Mr. Phyllis and Other Stories. Such a funny name, Mr. Phyllis.
My hairdresser. People said, Mr. Phyllis, does that mean he's a homosexual? It was so wild in those days. I was pregnant on the Ed Sullivan Show and I had to say, soon I hear the pitter-patter of little feet. I mean, I was like a house. My water broke and my dog drowned. And I still couldn't say, I'm pregnant.
Well, times certainly have changed, haven't they?
But they were always gays. They just didn't call them that. Abe Lincoln, of course, was gay. I saw his ghost in the Ford's Theater. Oh, sure. He used to watch me perform. Loved me. I said, come to bed. But being gay, he said, no, I'm going to the theater. And that's what happened. His ghost walks around saying, how did it end? The play, Mary. How did it end? It's very scary.
Well, the theater is so full of exciting people, don't you think? Movies even more so. May I ask, is it true you were friends with Liz Taylor?
We were very close. And I say this with love. She was a pig. She wore stretched caftans. Mosquito saw her and screamed, buffet! Oh, sure. She put mayonnaise on an aspirin.
Joan, you're tragically cruel.
She made $25 million a movie, and I call her fat. That's not tragic.
Well, even overweight, she was stunning.
Yes, she was. But let's face it, Mary, we are not beautiful women. No, you're a dog. I'm a dog. Can we talk here? You see, I think God divides. If he makes you gorgeous, he makes you stupid. And if he makes you rich, he makes you a bow wow. I truly, yes. And most of us are in the middle. The most beautiful women in the world are always the dumbest. The most beautiful woman in the world right now, Bella Hadid. She says, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It's what you think about yourself. Really, Bella? 30 million followers on Instagram. 30 million followers. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks? Oh, grow up.
She is a stunning woman.
And dumb. She studies for her pap test. She lost to Natalie DeMarco and named that tune. It's true. She is so dumb.
How dumb is she?
Thank you for asking. She's so dumb she turned down the role of Helen Keller. She couldn't remember the lines. Oh, yes, so dumb. And the richer they get, the uglier. Ugliest woman in the world until she died, and thank God for that. Christina Onassis. She was a dear friend of mine. Is she here?
No, dear. I've summoned only you.
Good. She was ugly. Just like you.
Joan, dear, Egbert is gorgeous. Try and be kind. And Christina couldn't have been all that bad.
Did you ever see her? First time I met her, I thought she was wearing a fur coat. She was in a strapless dress. Yes, I couldn't believe it. She had shoes that had holes for thumbs. I hate ugly people. You know who you are. If you're ugly, just get up and leave. Not you. But don't you hate ugly people?
I don't discriminate based on appearance.
I do. Christina Onassis was ugly, but rich.
Money isn't everything, dear.
That's what poor people say. Money may not be everything, but it's a lot. Oh, yes. People say that money is not the key to happiness, but I always figured if you have enough money, you can have a key made.
If I ever find the right man, rich or poor, I'll marry him.
Marry for money. You're looking for love? Stupid.
There's nothing like the bliss of true love, darling.
True love? You want to feel good? You want to have an orgasm? You don't need to be in love with a guy. find an old pig, take him to Tiffany's, and you say, oh, should I get the diamond or the emerald? And he'll say, take both. You'll have an orgasm like you never had in your entire life. Oh, sure. That's how Charles got Camilla. Dangled the royal jewels.
You attended their wedding, didn't you? I'm sure my invitation was somehow lost in the transcontinental shuffle.
Of course I went. The royals loved me. And those adorable kids, William and what's his name? Harry. Although he's no longer a royal, he's still adorable. If they put him on a stamp, I'd lick him.
Moving along, let's talk about your book on plastic surgery.
It tells you everything you ever wanted to know about plastic surgery and were afraid to ask Donatella Versace.
Well, she went a bit too far, didn't she? Did you have any of the procedures detailed in your own book?
I had all of them. I had so much plastic surgery. When I died, they donated my body to Tupperware. It's true.
Oh.
You could use a little work yourself.
Dear Joan, such a comedian. And I don't like the way it changes the shape of your eyes.
Just do one eye and see.
It has always been my personal philosophy to avoid going under the knife at all costs. I mean, you went in for a relatively simple throat procedure, and look what happened.
So, you're afraid of surgery? Michael Jackson wasn't afraid. He'd go in for a tuck and a bleach, same visit.
Dear, such a shame about that poisonous pedo business.
Oh, please. All those boys got $30 million each. $30 million. I only wish I had a son. Yes. And Cher, another surgery freak. Is she here?
No, darling, no. She's among the living.
Oh, that's right. She's still on that farewell tour. We were very good friends, me and Cher. I was friends with Julie Andrews. I was there for that whole terrible throat thing where they cut the...
So calamitous, losing her voice like that.
Losing your voice with a net worth of $45 million, not so calamitous. Losing your life for a routine throat exam.
Now that's a calamity, Joan. So tragic. You should have been revived.
Oh, please. I've had more revivals than Mick Jagger on Viagra. And they tried, Mary, they tried. My face didn't move. They thought, okay, Botox. By the time they figured it out, it was too late.
And now your unfortunate misfortune is our fortune, as you otherwise wouldn't have been available for my little chat show, where I interview formerly living legends, live from New York.
New York. I had a beautiful apartment here in New York.
Yes, I've seen pictures.
Very fancy schmancy, very elegant. How Marie Antoinette would have lived, if she'd had money. Not your style, not your style. Can we talk? Because I feel very close to you. How old are you, Mary? That old. It shows. And it's the one mountain you can't overcome, age. Aging is very hard if you're attractive, so it must be very easy for you. But I had friends, and I'm not going to name names, Goldie Hawn, that couldn't take getting older. They just couldn't take it. They'd say, can you believe I have a grown-up daughter? And I'd say, yes. It's very hard for a woman to get older.
I have a fully grown child myself, my sweet son Cecil. Of course, his father was a real layabout.
That's usually all it takes, one layabout. Is your son married? Do you have grandchildren?
No, he's still pursuing his artistic aspirations.
Oh, he's gay.
No. Not every artist is gay, darling.
Just the good ones. Yes, oh, the best. You should be very proud. Do you know how gay men fake orgasms?
Not a clue.
Spit on their back and say, I'm done. But my daughter, Melissa, we worked together, we shopped together, we decorated together. She's like the gay son I never had. But my real children, your real children, are the audience. Too bad you don't have one. No, just kidding. They really love you. And they really love your show. And so do I. Your interview with Carol Channing was like Diana Ross, so many costume changes.
You mean you've seen it? But it didn't begin airing until after...
You're very popular with the dead. They're your ideal audience. Of course, they were probably alive when you started your monologue.
I've always felt I had the sixth sense.
You see dead people, and we see you coming.
Oh, how lovely. Now tell me, when did you know you wanted to go into show business?
Ever since I was a little girl, I knew it was what I was going to do. I always knew. I didn't wait till I had one foot in the grave, like you. And by the way, that's some hell of a foot. Do your grandkids call you Yetta or Yeti?
As I said, my sweet son Cecil has yet to marry. I don't have a little Cooper running around. Moving along rapidly, what do you think was the biggest moment of your career?
I used to think it was yet to come, but I'm dead, and I'm here. So I guess not. No, but seriously. I would say it was the time I won my Emmy for my daytime show. It was the one thing they couldn't take away from me. They could take away my whole career, but they couldn't take that away. I could pawn it, but they couldn't take it. Of course, now that I'm gone, Melissa's probably using it as a doorstop.
Well, it must have been a great shot in the arm, after all you'd been through.
My husband had committed suicide. I'd been fired from Fox. Johnny Carson wouldn't let me back. I was banned from late night for 21 years because Carson said I had left him.
I hope you don't mind my asking. I know this is a rather delicate issue, but ultimately, how did you feel about Edgar? Did you love him?
Did I love my husband? I love my husband, but I'm still so angry at him. I had no one to say, do you remember? That was very difficult. Now he's always in the audience when I do my set at St. Peter's Cabaret and Atonement Bar. But I still can't look at him. I still can't talk to him. The anger has never left me.
I know exactly how you feel.
You've had a suicide?
No, I've had me ex, Frederick. But one can dream. Now, in the end, what was it, do you think, that made you so successful?
I think I was the neighbor that says what you're thinking. You know, the neighbor who goes, "Oh, did you hear what she said?" I mean, it's true, but she said it. That's where Can We Talk came from. You'd say, "Can we talk here?"
And now you're talking here.
The highlight of my afterlife. Speaking of which, I gotta run.
Oh.
I'm playing the Atonement Bar in 5 minutes, and you don't want to piss off St. Peter, especially if you're a Jew. One last thing, Mary. For God's sake, get a fucking facelift.
Goodness. Get a facelift. I prefer to age as God intended, plastered over with 3 inches of makeup. And if Joan doesn't like it, well, quel fromage. Joan Rivers. She didn't have an easy go of it, did she? Though ending up with a net worth of $150 million, it's hard to feel sorry for her, n'est-ce pas? And curiously, she's still performing. Probably slaying at the Atonement Bar. Sort of redundant, that. Oh. I hope you are as tickled today as I by our vivacious visitante, and you will be eager to join me next time, when I shall be interviewing yet another scintillating celestial celebrity. Until then, I shall sidestep surgery, tiptoe around the tuck, spend more quality time with me makeup man, and faithfully remain votre Lady Mary Pozah au naturel. No, not nude, Egbert. There's only so much makeup can cover. Now, I hate to say this, but my producer insists. Don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to me channel. Merci. Enfin, this has been Famous Interviews.
Paste.